Todd reckons the Royal Enfield Interceptor represents excellent value for money. They've got a great engine, they're easy to customise, and they just look cool, especially when you've got an awesome custom paint job on the tank. Now hang about to the end of the video and we'll let you know what's coming up on the channel in 2024, but for now, it's over to Todd.
My name's Todd, and I've been riding for 7 years. We came to Australia in 2016 from upstate New York. I didn't ride motorcycle until I came to Australia. I had a bit of a run-in with a dog that fractured my hand, and I thought this would be about the best rehabilitation I could think of, was spending a lot of time with a throttle. So we started kicking her tires around the local bike shops and ended up with a 250 Sol Invictus to begin with, and my L plates pretty quickly after. Probably put 2,500 Ks on it by myself, and then started riding with other people and realizing pretty much every other bike out there was faster. I went back to the same shop and had a great opportunity to look at a trip to India and to combine it with a purchase of a Himalayan, and made the jump up to a massive 411cc bike at that time. Just before COVID, I purchased the Interceptor, and you know, I mean, literally like a month before the first lockdown, and I've never been more satisfied with a purchase. You know, this was most of my sanity for 2 years. Royal Enfield, to me, it's such good value for what it is. Like, the Interceptor was something new and fresh. I had friends that had like the 535 that they made a few years before, and so that look was beautiful to me. The fact that it was that bit more power, the parallel twin, the 650, that really makes a big difference. But when I originally bought the bike, it was the ravishing red and the black and the red. I just look good on it. I mean, you know, it's really hard to tick all those other boxes and then just have that, yeah, I want that as well. So yeah, Royal Enfield does that in spades. I'm very fortunate to have grown up with a father who's a panel beater, and so we did a big trip back to the States last year, and in part of that planning was able to get him to paint up this tank and do this freehand for me. You know, and it's nice to be able to bring that piece back, you know, and have it here in Australia. So the paint job is definitely the biggest modification. I'm probably too practical. Most of my other modifications are things like engine guards, and that practicality extends to like the Hitchcock clock on the triple tree so that I know what time it is, so I can get back to where I'm supposed to be, that sort of stuff. But otherwise, it's pretty much stock bike. I mean, I've still got the stock silencers till I wear them out, so. My weekend ride, again, being very fortunate, is hop on the bike early Sunday morning, go down to Lorne along the Great Ocean Road, grab a pie in Lorne, and then come back through temperate rainforest with twisties and turns and everything else, and come back to the house, you know, 100 Ks later, having seen surf, rainforest. You know, it's just such a mind-clearing experience. There's actually a point where the trees open up and you come down a hill and you come back up, and every time you're just laughing. I mean, you just feel that lightness as you come up in the seat, and it's fantastic. And that's my Sundays. A mate of mine has a 500, and we keep talking about shipping the bikes out to Perth and doing the ride back, but doing the and I'm going to get hung out for my accent, but do the Null Arbor Links coming back, and do the golf course along the way. That's 1,800 Ks coming back this way. So
You mean Nullarbor?
That's I hear that's there too. Yeah. A good mate of mine and I, we go moto camping. When we started, he was on an MT-07 at the time. And you know, we probably started out wrong with firewood and joffle makers and everything else with us, and we've refined ourselves down to probably only 100 liters of stuff at a time at this point. But it just extends the range. Like, I wouldn't do it with the car, but to be able to go out somewhere on the bike, set up, and then just go that much further, go over the next hill, it's flawless. I mean, it's just so much fun. My loop that I like doing for that is a 3-day loop to go up via Bright and then down to Lakes Entrance and then back to Geelong. It's about 1,500 Ks. And you know, having the ability to camp and do that just makes it a really easy trip.
A journey through the darkness.
Look, I think anybody that buys a Royal Enfield is value oriented, and one of the best values in Australia is a Bunnings sausage sizzle. Even now that the prices have gone up, it's still good bang for your buck. And so mate and I were talking a little bit about it, and we stopped at one of our locals, and we said, well, let's just start it today. That's Bunnings 1 done. So we said that, and we're like, well, what else about motorcycling? And for us, motorcycling was about our mental health. The Interceptor really came in when COVID started for me. My mate had a period of time where he was made redundant, and we just spent a lot of time saying, this is where we feel away from that. Jump on the bike, go spend $6-10 on a pie, and just have that time. And so we started looking around for how do we take this tour to snag idea and how do we tie it into mental health. And we found Black Dog Institute, and we'd done a couple Black Dog one-day rides. And we said, we can combine these. We can do this as a fundraiser. And so my mate Clint is much more organized than I am. He pulled together the maps, and we started seeing that there were well over 70 Bunnings in Victoria, and that there were more on the way. So we said, we can do this. And so we set out to go to every Bunnings in Victoria, and over COVID we did. We hit over 74 stores. We had as many as 7 snags in one day, which I assure you is about 5 too many. But we met some incredible people at Bunnings. The folks raising money at Bunnings were just wonderful people. And all these organizations that I hadn't been exposed to, Country Women's Association, Lions Club, even just the schools and all these other groups that were out there on that Saturday when they could have been doing anything else, raising money for things that mattered to them. And they thought it was such a lark that we were doing it. And they wanted to chat with us. And it was fantastic. And the motorcycle made that possible. This is always a matter of debate, right? And this guarantees you get in trouble because we told everywhere we went that was the best snag. As you do. Yeah, as you do. But what we really found was it was more around the variety and the things that people did with it. And it was around who had 7 or 8 different sauces. We had a couple of places that had, would have sweet chili, and you'd have a couple of places that would have this. You'd have some places that were just tomato sauce, which was, unusual because I'm kind of a mustard guy. But we just were amazed, and we find some places even out country where there'd be 7 or 8 different sauces, salt and pepper at one place, which threw us for a loop. And like 4 different kinds of bread. You just couldn't believe how variable it was in some places. It's connected. When I'm out on the bike, I'm connected. Like I'm aware of my surroundings. I'm careful to be attentive. I don't do it on a whim. Have I checked in with myself? Am I paying enough attention? Am I not fatigued so that I can go out and have a good ride? So I've already done that check-in before I even put my boots on. And that self-reflection already is a good start. And then you get on the bike and you put your leg over it and you're part of it. You become a unit and you're inseparable. You're dependent on each other. If one of you screws up, you're gonna know it, And then you get to go out and smell the air and hear the sea and see the trees and see the wildlife. That awareness, that connectivity is fantastic. But you get to do it in parallel with other people who are having that same experience. And then you come together, almost always over food, when you're out on the bike. And you have that shared experience again, where now it's the group of you back together again. And I don't know that there's much else in the world that's like that. And I've put 41,000 Ks on this bike in 2.5 years. And it's pretty much been that parallel play and that awareness and being out in the environment.
Well, I reckon that Royal Enfield should hire Todd's dad because that paint job is so beautiful.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
It's so cool.
Now, I'm looking forward to heading back down there next year in February. I'm going to go do the Great Ocean Road before I load the bike onto the ferry and head to Tassie for about an 7-day tour around Tassie with a whole heap of Aussie moto content creators.
That will be very, very cool. What bike are you going to take?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? So I could take one of mine. It won't be my Laverta because it won't be running because it broke down.
Never is.
Give me a break. I've heard from Royal Enfield, and we should have the new liquid-cooled Himalayan, the 450cc Himalayan. So that's one option.
Yep.
I've also spoken to BMW, and there's a good chance that we'll have the BMW 1300 GS at that point.
That will be a cool one. Very comfy one.
Very comfy and probably very appropriate for that tour.
Yes.
Not sure which way I'm leaning at the moment, so I reckon you guys should let us know. What do you think I should ride around Tassie? What have we got coming up in 2024?
So we will have a comparison of the MT-07 high output as well as the Learner Legal. I'm very excited to sort of compare those two. We also have the Tracer 9 GT Plus, which has been a quite interesting ride.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise pack at that bike. Not really a bike that I'm overly familiar with. So it was interesting to spend a couple of weeks on that one. We've also got a Ducati Desert X, so I'm actually hoping to get out in the next week or so and hit some dirt on that one.
And we also heard from Yamaha as well about a new bike coming our way.
Yeah, so the new MT-09s, I just confirmed with Sean, who's the marketing guy at Yamaha Australia. We've got the new MT-09 as well as the new XSR 900, as well as, very exciting for old blokes like me.
And young women like me.
Fair enough. The XSR 900 GP, I reckon that's going to be a massive seller for Yamaha, not just in Australia, but worldwide. Dates for the Sumbawa and Lombok tour are 28th of July to the 4th of August. We've actually had to push it back a day from what we originally said. The price is from $3,700 Aussie twin share. So you got at least 6 days of riding. We're doing a few laps around the MotoGP track. It includes the bikes. So you'll be on the Hunter Maverick 500s, which are like an adventure tourer style bike. There's lots of cultural stuff we'll be doing. It's not just riding, although there is plenty of riding.
Yeah.
So that's the exciting thing for me, is that it's not just about the motorcycling. It's about learning about a bit of the culture in Sumbawa and Lombok.
Yeah, it just seems very immersive within the culture and the areas that you're riding through. It looks amazing.
If you're interested, send me an email, shop@bikertalk.com.au. So when I started the channel, I said I'd only ever keep producing the content while I was still enjoying it, and I certainly am.
Yeah.
I'm getting to meet some amazing people through the channel who I probably would never have met. So just the the knowledge that people are they're willing to share. We're meeting some awesome people. So I know I'm enjoying the channel. So I'm happy to keep producing the content for another year. How about you?
No, I'm kidding. Absolutely. I think meeting all these brand new people, it opens my eyes to just how friendly and amazing other bikers are, where I may have initially thought they were a little intimidating to approach. And also just being able to review bikes, to be able to ride so much variety of different bikes. I mean, I think I'm incredibly lucky, and I will definitely be continuing on.
Nice. So this is probably our last video for this year.
We just want to say thank you so much for all your support. Have an amazing break, and we'll see you next year in 2024.
See you then.